Hi, welcome to another lecture of JS Yatra. In this particular lecture, we are going to implement our own version of Promise.all settled. The level of this question is medium, so without wasting any time, let's get started. For the previous question, that is Promise.all, then I'll suggest that check out that lecture first, and then you come to Promise.all settled. And why I am saying this, because the approach is going to be same 80% approx, and rest the only difference in promise.all settled is the way in which it returns the promises. Okay, so we'll understand this promise.all settled right now, and it would give us a clear picture of what needs to be modified in the code that we have written for the promise.all. So as per MDN, promise.allSettle is a static method that takes an iterable of promises as input and returns a single promise. This is so far very much similar to promise.all. Okay. And what it says next, the return promise fulfills when all of its inputs promises settle, including when an empty iterable is passed. Okay. This is same as well with an array of objects. Okay, so earlier it used to be an array, just an array, but it is saying that this time the return value would be array of objects that describe the outcome of each promise. Okay, so that is the new thing. Okay, so in promise.all it was just an array, but in this promise.all settled it would be array of objects, and in that object we are going to determine the state of the outcome. How is that going to work for us? So consider this example, which is same as the previous one. You have resolve 3, again a new promise, and you have array of promises. Now if you execute this in promise.all settled promises, and you execute inside the the chain by a dot then, and results is an array. Okay, results is an array, so you're iterating over each object and you're logging the each object over here. You can see that the array, the object is containing actually two keys, actually three keys. One is the status, which is common in both. It can be either fulfilled, it can be either rejected, and if it is fulfilled it will contain the value. If it is rejected, then it will contain the reason why it got rejected. And I guess this is pretty much very accepted as well, because as a developer I want to get status of each of the promises that I have passed, and not just get one error like we had in promise.all. So promise.all settled looks much more promising in itself, and the only change we are going to make, so I have copied everything from the previous lecture. It is the exact code of promise.all. I have renamed a function with promise.all settled over here, so that it may you may not get confused. And in this only we are going to tweak with the output. All right, so over here, instead of putting just the value, all right, what we'll be needing is like this. Instead it would be an object, so it is a case of a successful or a fulfilled case of a promise. So the status is going to be fulfilled, and the value is going to be value, or as a shorthand you can just write it value as well, like this. Okay, this is the value. And what if there is a case of rejection? So we are not going to reject the case. Instead what it is saying, that it should be status rejected with a reason. So we can say that again, output of index is status is going to be rejected, and there would be a reason with an error, and we don't want to return over here because I would want to keep executing. So now ideally we are not consuming this reject thing anywhere, so we can get rid of reject. And okay, so whatever logic we had for counting the pending status and other stuff, we can add it after each try catch statement. and this should be fine. And we don't want a return statement here as well. And this should be fine, I guess. Let us clear the console and see if it is working or not. So here you can see that we are getting three fulfilled promises. And so the P4 was rejected, and you can see that it is saying rejected with a reason, and the promise 3 was resolved. It was having fulfilled. I guess this is working absolutely fine. And we have a try catch statement as before. And since we want to calculate uh, the status of each of the array item, so it was a wise decision to move the pending count thing logic over after the try catch statement. So earlier we were having this pending count minus equals to 1 inside the try statement, okay, but we were not having inside the catch, because earlier we were directly rejecting the promise in case of error. But in this case, we have to consider the catch statement as well. And even if certain array item falls inside the catch block, then we also have to decrement the pending count by 1. So in this scenario, whether it is a case of fulfillment, whether it is a case of rejection, we have to decrement the pending count by 1. So instead of decrementing a pending count value inside try and inside catch again, why not you have it at the end of the try catch statement, so that either of the case, whether it be a try, whether it be a catch, so it is a wise decision to move the pending count after the try catch statement. And don't get confused that since these for each is going to run all of this in parallel, so the pending count status might not be calculated correctly. Please note that inside the try catch statement we have a await item as well. So although these are running in parallel, but since await is a blocking statement, so the code will not move forward until and unless this value is computed. So although this particular block is running in parallel for each item, but inside when it also runs, so individually consider this particular block is running in its own, and there is another, there is third, okay, each of the block item will wait until this particular value is resolved, okay, they'll wait for this thing to get resolved. Once this particular value is resolved, then only the code execution will move forward. Although each block is running in parallel, but still if it is parallel, but it will not execute this particular line until and unless it has executed the try catch statements. So do make a note of that. So this was all in this particular lecture. This was the implementation of Promise.allSettled function. I hope you like this video, this particular lecture, and if you have any doubts, then please let me know in the Discord channel or in the community section. And yeah, see you in the next one.